So today I want to give a little bit of praise to a company that has been very near and dear to my PC building heart, and that is EVGA, and I want to talk about why EVGA will remain, at least in the near future, my number one go-to brand for GPUs on the NVIDIA side of things anyways, because they're not making AMD cards, but EVGA rules, and I want to tell you why. So to let you know why I like EVGA so much as a company, we need to go back in time to my first ever PC build featuring an FX 4300, something like 8 gigabytes of RAM initially, and a GTX 660, and it was made by the company that you're probably already thinking about, of course, EVGA. Now, it was a blower style card, and it was as loud as a little jet engine taken off when it was fully under load, and I did later on swap it out with a dual fan cooler because it was just a reference PCB, and I had another 660 on hand, so I swapped out the cooler. I actually still have that card. I would have pulled it out for reference with this video, but it's buried in a mini ITX build right now that I just don't want to take apart. So when the 700 series of graphics cards came out from NVIDIA, I skipped those altogether, but I did jump for the 900 series, getting an NVIDIA, EVGA rather, GTX 970. It was an it was an SSC card, and it was a dual fan design, unlike the blower style that I had on the GTX 660. And I was very happy with that card. In fact, that card still runs to this day. It's actually in this PC that I am recording my audio off of right now. But then the 10 series came out, and when the 10 series launched, I was looking for another upgrade because this was the time period when I was really getting into PC gaming and also just becoming more of a PC enthusiast in general. So I was ready to go a little bit closer to that enthusiast class of hardware. So I jumped for a GTX 1070 from, you guessed it, EVGA, and that's where our story picks up today. So my first 1070 was one of those models that EVGA had sort of forgotten or just had overlooked in their design to put thermal pads on the RAM chips. And I did apply and get one of those kits where you could do that yourself from EVGA. But regardless, a couple months after I did that, in a blue puff of smoke, my GTX 1070 was no more. But, of course, the 1070s carried a 3-year warranty, which up until recently I thought that was 2 years, which is why I incorrectly said in my recent video about trying to fix that 1070, actually that was the second 1070, again, more on that in a minute. I thought it was out of warranty, but it actually was still in warranty, and that's where I'll come back here in just a bit. So anyways, I have the first 1070. It goes up, blue puff of smoke, it's gone, and no longer functions. I revert back to a 970 while I'm waiting the couple of weeks that it took me to ship out the 1070 that I first had and receive a new 1070 from EVGA. And for about 2 years, the replacement 1070 worked just fine. But then recently, it started to show artifacts in gaming, and those artifacts got worse and worse to the point where, and if you look at my recent video about it, and I'll probably leave a card or something to that, if nothing else, link in the description as well, but the artifacting got to the point where it was more than just a little annoying with a glitch here and there. It was completely debilitating for games. Games would eventually crash out if you played long enough, and the card was completely unusable. Now, in that last video about the 1070, I thought it was out of warranty, and I was ready to sort of just get rid of it, sell it on eBay as a not working part. But of course, I did my due diligence, went back and looked, and it did fall in warranty. So I sent it back off to EVGA almost. We're like a few months shy of 3 years after I bought the original 1070. Now, EVGA commits to giving you a either comparable card or a better card than the one you RMA. Now, I suspect that maybe being one of their first models of 1070, they just don't have any left, but they sent back a GTX 1070 for the Win Edition. Oh, I mean 1070 Ti. So not only is a beefier cooler here, but I also got an actual graphics card upgrade from the original 1070. This is the third card from the singular purchase. I bought one 1070 and have already made it and the replacement to end up here with a 1070 Ti for the Win Edition. And I have already played a little bit with this card with overclocking, and oh my gosh, this thing overclocks like a champion. I've been able to get it stable at 2100 plus megahertz. This card is amazing with cooling, has apparently great power delivery, great overclocking potential. I am incredibly happy with the customer service that I've received from EVGA over the years, especially in regards to the 10 series RMA process. It's always been extremely quick, simple, and easy for me to get my cards sent back off and to receive the cards back. Their shipping is actually pretty quick as well. So what I want to say to EVGA with this video, the sort of wrap up here, is thank you. As a customer, there are not a ton of big differences between different graphics cards. So if you're getting a 1070, for example, or in this case a 1070 Ti, all of the 1070 Ti's are going to perform very similarly. Even if you're looking at the very base model of a 1070 Ti versus a very over-the-top model of 1070 Ti, they're all going to perform very similarly. So there's only a few places where companies can really make a difference in a customer's mind with what cards to buy. If they make a crappy product, which I have not soured on EVGA at all through this, because they still have a very fine reputation when it comes to quality, build quality, and reputation of having products that last. So I'm more looking at my situation as just getting unlucky with those 1070s. But EVGA, in my mind, has superior build quality to many of the competitors, not all. There are premium cards out there that do match in EVGA's build quality here, but also aesthetics. And frankly, I do like EVGA's aesthetic, but it's not, in my mind, a crazy amount better or worse than other companies out there. I really like ASUS's looks on their cards, and I still don't buy ASUS graphics cards that are on the NVIDIA side of things, but that's mostly because EVGA stands out to me with their customer service. I've been extremely happy with every interaction I've ever had with them. Cannot recommend their cards more based on purely customer service. And because of that customer service, they have had 2 cards that have failed on me. And again, I look at those as just complete flukes. But because the customer service has been excellent, I will keep going back. When I buy a new graphics card, if it's on the NVIDIA side of things, you can bet that I'm going to be going EVGA, because frankly, I've never had a bad experience with them as a company, and as a customer, that's extremely valuable to me. But of course, I do want to hear from you guys. Do you have either great or terrible customer support service experiences with a graphics card company? Now, I want to limit it to just graphics cards because with computer components, there are all kinds of issues that I've personally had with pretty much every component in the system. So just with graphics cards, what are your horror stories and what are your dream stories with graphics card vendors? Let me know down below. And of course, if you like this video, hey, give it a like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things help out. You can follow me on social media at Hoosier Hardware. That's what that sort of tag there is. And of course, I'll let YouTube queue up a couple more videos around me from my channel for you to watch. I'm Shane with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.